Hey guys, Thomas John, and welcome back to my channel. Today is Wine Wednesday, so I hope you're having a lot of fun wherever you might be, or it could be Water Wednesday if you're not a wine person. But I'm gonna have a glass of wine, and we are going to talk. And today our topic is going to be how to be a good sitter. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. And the reason this is one of my favorite topics to talk about is because it's often a topic that we don't think about. And we hear a lot about what makes a great medium, what makes a great psychic, but we very often do not talk about what makes a wonderful sitter, what makes a great sitter. So we want to talk about that. And for those of you who are new to studying mediumship or learning about mediumship, you may be wondering what a sitter even is. So a sitter is another word to describe the person who is the recipient of the reading. So if you go and have a reading, and you are a sitter. And so if you are going to be a sitter in a reading, there are certain things that you want to do in order to really enhance that experience. Now, some mediums are more traditional, and they feel that the only thing that the person has to do to be a good sitter is to show up to the appointment. Or pick up the phone and call for their appointment time. That's the only thing that they have to do. And besides that, there's nothing else that makes a good sitter or not. But I would argue, and many of my colleagues would say, that sitting is really something that you do have to work on, and you have to get better at it over time. And there are some very quick and easy things to do to be a great sitter. Some of them are very practical, and some of them are not as practical. So the first thing to be a great sitter is, before you even set up a reading or call a medium, is to do your research. And most of my talk today with you is going to focus on medium readings, but certainly many of this applies if you are getting a psychic reading as well. So the first thing is to do your research. Before you book an appointment with a medium, do your research. Look them up. Learn about them, read their books. If they've written books, read their blogs, see things that you can find about them on YouTube. But you really want to look into a medium before you set up a session with them. And I would say in particular, I would say focus on reading anything that they've written. So if you could read blogs or check out their videos or check out their book that they've written. I've written a book called Never Argue with a Dead Person, True and Unbelievable Stories from the Other Side. So if you read that book, you'll kind of get a sort of a sense of how it is I work. You might get a sense that I bring a sense of humor and levity to my readings. You might get a sense that I get a lot of evidential, a lot of specifics that only the loved one would know about. And so you'll kind of get a sense of how a medium works as you are looking into them. So I would advise you to do that. Spend a little time looking into them and learning about them. And when you, and especially focus on, blogs, things they've written, times they've been interviewed. A lot of mediums actually have actual readings that they've done that they've got permission to put on YouTube. I've been on the radio many, many times. So I have a lot of my radio interviews on there and TV interviews. So you kind of get a sense for my style and think about it. Is this somebody that I could spend a half an hour or an hour with? Is this somebody that I could connect with in this way? So that's the first thing. The second thing is also a good thing is let spirit guide you. So oftentimes I find that our loved ones upstairs on the other side know that we want to connect with our with them, so they will guide mediums into our life. So if you see the medium keeps popping up to you and somebody keeps saying, hey, have you ever seen this guy? Have you ever seen this lady? Do you ever know this lady? I had this actually happen once to me a couple of times, actually. There was a medium, Isabella Johnson, and I wasn't even, wanting to have a medium reading, but like 15 people brought up her name to me in a week, and I had a reading with her, and it was a spectacular reading. You may want to check her out. Her name is Isabella Johnson. And I actually, had a reading with her. And so it was one of those things where I felt like spirit was leading me there. So a lot of times they know that we would like to connect with them. So if that's something, set an intention, say, spirit, show me who you want me to connect with. A lot of times deceased people will pick mediums that they would have connected with or they would have liked. I've had so many people that have said, my husband would have loved you, my boyfriend would have loved you, my daughter would have loved you. And so oftentimes that does happen. So I'm having a Cabernet tonight. So anyways, that's the first thing. And that is before you even have your reading or even call the medium, right? Remember also that, a great analogy that I like to use is that mediums, they're like your girlfriends, You might call one girlfriend to go out to the club with. You might call one girlfriend, she's a great financial advisor. You might call one girlfriend because she's a great listener. One girlfriend that's your fun girlfriend. Remember, mediums, a lot of us tend to have specialties, A lot of us tend to have our certain style and stuff like that. And just like, you wouldn't call your girlfriend who doesn't have children to ask for parenting advice. You wouldn't call a medium that seems to only work in a certain style and expect a certain style. But most of us are very, very open. We work with all sorts of different people. We work in all sorts of different ways. But again, look and see if you resonate with the person. And the other thing is you can check out demonstrations. Many of you probably know what this is, but just another word for, a large event. So a lot of mediums, we demonstrate on what we call the platform. And that's when we stand up in front of people and we deliver messages. And not everybody in the group gets a message, but the platform can be 20, 30, 40, 50, 1,000, 100, 200, 300 people. And the medium directs the readings and says, I'm getting this person. Does this make sense to you? I have a man by this name. He drowned and this is how he passed and he was born on this day and he liked to go play hockey, and yes, somebody connects to that, right? So also you could go to a demonstration. I always recommend you, if you can, to go to a demonstration before you book a private reading. That's usually the best way. Of course, we're in the middle of COVID-19 craziness, but many of us are doing online events, or you can see online demonstrations, or you could see YouTube videos of previous demonstrations, or you can wait, hopefully when everything is back to normal, and go see them live. And not a requirement, but I do think it's a nice thing to check out an event or class or workshop. It's like, is this somebody that I'm going to connect with? Okay. The other thing is so you've set up your medium appointment. You're going to have a phone call, a Zoom, or back in the 1800s when we used to meet people in person, right? But someday that'll happen again too. So you're driving to the medium's house or whatever. You're got your Zoom session, you got your phone session, preparing your environment. Okay, this means to be respectful of the medium and be respectful of the process. Be on time. Don't be late. Try to be in a relaxed state of mind. Try not to get super excited. I mean, not to can't get excited, but if you get can actually kind of inhibit the process. So I know it's exciting, and if I've been in your shoes before. I've gone and sat for readings because I can't get a connection to my people, and I was like, just want to get a reading, right? Or I want to just have just a pure reading. Nobody knows anything about me. What comes through messages, and you get excited. It's not that you can't get excited, but just remember also that there's just the the professional context here, that you're meeting somebody for the first time, so be just respectful of boundaries, space, be on time. Please don't show up drunk. Please don't show up on drugs. Please don't, be rude. Please don't have your baby in the background screaming. Please don't be driving your car. Please don't be going poo-poo or pee-pee on the toilet when we're doing our readings. Please don't be eating during your readings. Please don't be all the other things, your cell phone going off, all these types of things. And I'm saying all of those things, breastfeeding, having another conversation with somebody, lying to the medium and telling them that you're the only one in the room and really 3 of your friends are there. But all those are things that have happened to me. That's why I'm saying, I've had people, they're driving. I'm like, are you driving your car? They're like, no. I'm like, well, I hear beeping and stuff in the background. Oh yeah, sorry. Some of us may be shocked to hear this, or some of us may be guilty of this. Please. It inhibits the process. So be in a good space. I know it's hard, especially now when many of us are quarantining, but if you set up a reading, tell your loved ones and your husband, this is important to me. I need the door shut for an hour. I can't be disturbed. I can't have the dog barking and things like that, because all those things are going to affect your reading. Before you go to the reading, I recommend that you write down things that you want to cover in the reading. You don't have to, and you shouldn't be telling this to the medium before you have a sitting, but what I would recommend that you do is write down things that you would like to come through, whether they be validations, whether they be areas of your life you need guidance on, whether you have questions for your loved ones. You know, many of you may have particular things you're hoping your loved one answers. Did you suffer at the end? Are you proud of me? Did you really love me? Write these things down. Spend some time jotting down things and kind of make a list. This is to be important because it's going to bring these ideas and thoughts to the forefront of your mind. It's also send that up to the spirit world. Our spirit love on to our intentions. And so they will feel and sense and know that these are the things that you need, and then they will respond with that, okay? Make sure that you do this. Third thing, as you're preparing, you've set up your medium appointment, it's your day of your medium reading, or it's the evening before your medium reading, and you would like to, connect and get a little bit of information. Okay, great. So as far as that goes, right? Okay. When you're doing that, make sure you know about your loved ones. I know this is tricky, but remember, as we're going to get to in a little bit, and I know I don't mean tricky, but I know sometimes people say, well, okay, I do know about my loved ones. Do you? Make sure you know significant dates, significant birthdays, significant months, places people lived. I recommend you go back 3 generations. So mother, grandparents, and great grandparents. Those are usually, and go into those realms. Grandmother's siblings, grandfather's siblings. If you can ask your mom and dad or any loved ones that you have here about anybody in your family, okay? That could come through in a reading. You'd be surprised how many people come to a reading and they say, I don't know that person. I never met that person. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, about who actually comes through in a medium reading. But the more you know about your family, the better you can get your validations, because somebody might come through that you weren't close to. Many people do medium readings and psychic readings differently, but unless you're told differently, and I really don't understand why you would be, but unless you are told differently, everybody has their own process. But as far as working with me, and as far as working with most evidential and ethical mediums, there's only 3 things that you need to be saying in your medium reading. Yes, no, I don't know. Those are, if you know those 3 words, those 3 phrases, I guess 2 words and a phrase, you are good to go. We do not need storytelling in your reading. We do not need adding on information. We do not need oversharing. We do not need providing more details than are asked. I'm connecting with a male in spirit, the medium will say, and he passed at 55 years old. Do you understand this? Yes, no, I don't know. Let me think about that for myself. I would say with that, no, I don't know anybody who passed in 55. Okay. What about, I'm getting actually, could be a little bit older, 65. Yes, I would understand that. Okay. I'm being told this is your father. Would you understand that? Yes, I understand that. I'm being told this man died of cancer and it was in his stomach and his lungs. Yes, I understand this. That would be my father. So again, you're keeping your responses very direct. Yes, no, I don't know. Yes, no, it's not making sense right now. Yes, no, I'm not sure about that, but I'll write it down, okay? So yes is you know that it's true. No is you know it's not true, okay? Sometimes people get these 2 confused with I don't know, okay? So your great-great-great-great-grandmother is here, and she worked in a bakery, okay? So that's not a no unless you know for sure that you don't have a great-great-great-great-grandmother that worked in a bakery. Now, this being said, it is the medium's job to bring through enough things that you can say yes to provides evidence of the survival of consciousness. So if you say, I don't know everything, that's not a great reading. But what I want to say is there might be some things that you will say, I don't know, you're not sure about. There could be stories you don't know about. There could be things that apply to other people. There could be messages that are being brought through to other living members of your family. So remember, yes, no, and I don't know. Those are basically the way you're going to approach your reading. So when the medium starts to connect, they start to describe what they see, sense, feel, hear, know, and they're receiving through their psychic senses, because the medium is tuning in using their psychic senses, and they begin to describe what they're getting. And then it's up to you to say, yes, no, I don't know. Yes, no, I don't know. Remember, no and I don't know are different. No means you know for a fact it's not true. Somebody was to say to me, your father is here and he worked on a railroad. I know that that's not true. I know my father never worked on a railroad. Your father's here and he's telling me that he was born in Montana. No, I know he was not born in Montana. I know that's fact. If somebody was to say, your father's coming here through and he's telling me when he was 5 years old, he played with a gun and it traumatized him or something. I don't know. I'm just making something up. I don't know. I mean, maybe. I don't think so. I never heard of that. But I don't know the answer to that because I wouldn't have known my father when he was 5 years old. A lot of times the I don't knows are things that you're going to have to ask other family members about, do research on, or they may come to pass later. Because remember, our medium, our spirit friends can also bring through prophecy or prediction. So they may say, they're telling me that the next few weeks are going to be challenging for you. That may be an I don't know. You might not know that answer, okay? Yes, no, I don't know. The other thing I'm going to tell you is allow the reading to unfold. Let the medium work. That's what you hired them to do. So let them do that, okay? Do not, see what happens is you have to remember as a medium, we don't know your life. We don't know anything about you. You're like a blank slate. So to you, something that's kind of, well, yeah, everybody knows that about my dad. We wouldn't know that about your dad. So we're because we don't know anything about you and we're just purely connecting at a spiritual level, when we start to give this information to you, it's showing that this is really your dad, okay? So allow that reading to unfold and think about the things that are coming through and just let them do their job. Remember, if I say to you, your father's here, and your father is telling me that he's showing me golf clubs, and you say, oh my God, yeah. My dad loved to golf. He played golf every day of his life. He was a professional golfer. He was, really close to this person and friends with that person. And he golfed at this country club. And that's one of my favorite memories of him and things like that. You have taken out all this other evidence that could be coming through to help with your reading. Does that make sense to you? So you've taken away the opportunity for the medium to give you that as evidence. So in other words, if I give you one piece of information and it is right, and then you take that and you go ahead and add, and you spontaneously kind of say 10 more things, you've taken all that away as possible validations that could have come through. So again, using the analogy of the golf thing, your father was a great golfer. Yes, he was a great golfer. I play with him all the time. He got 3 hole-in-ones. He played up until the day he died. He was best friends with Arnold Palmer. He used to golf at the Shaker. I remember him. He used to golf at the Shaker, Heights golf course, and we would play all the time. And I've got his golf balls in my bag. I can't believe you said that. Well, you've just added in, like, those were 10 things that the medium could have said, Annie's showing me this, Annie's saying Shaker Heights Golf Club, that would have really made that survive. And what's going to happen is because you've blocked that, now those are all things that I can't reference as a medium because I already know them. And you've told them to me, and you're going to inhibit the connection and hurt the connection. So I really want to advise you to not do that. Don't share too much. This is good. Okay. Remember also with your expectations of a medium, think about this before you go. We are not going to have full conversations with your loved ones. It's not going to be like, okay, what do you want to, it's not like that. We are sensing, feeling, and getting knowingness and hearing things through our psychic senses. So it's not the same as if you and I are sitting having a conversation and we're talking. Remember, they're in a higher spiritual plane, so the medium has to kind of raise up their energy, connect with them, bring the information down, process it, give it to you, and this is all happening within a second. So what I want to tell you is, it's not going to be like a conversation. We also cannot pull loved ones. It's not 1-800 dial a dead person, okay? We bring through who comes to us. 80 to 90% of the time, it's the people that you love and miss the most. But sometimes somebody comes in, you might think, why does that person need to come through? I wasn't close to that person. I didn't know that person. Why is great Aunt Sally coming through and great Aunt Mary coming through? I wasn't close to those people. That doesn't always matter, because a lot of times they will bring through, they're still connected to you, and there might be a message they may need to bring through. They may bring through some part of their personality which you know to be true to help you in your life, you know. So great Uncle Alfred, who was an architect, might come through to give you a message about your home, you know. Great Aunt Millie, who was a teacher, might come through to give you some guidance about homeschooling your children. So there's different reasons why loved ones may come through. They also may give you messages to pass to other members of the family. So honor that connection of whoever comes through to talk to you is there for a reason. Let them give their message so we can go on to the next person. Because a lot of times right behind great aunt, you know, Uncle Frank, that you're kind of like, I don't really want to talk to him, to be honest with you, is the person that you really want to talk. And if you immediately put a wall up, your medium is going to lose his or her connection. It will inhibit the process. And, you know, a lot of times people will say, you know, I always tell people to remember, do not use one medium reading to decide if you believe in the afterlife or not. Okay? That would be like saying, well, I'm going to go to a psychologist today. And if I don't have a great session with the psychologist, I don't believe in depression. I don't believe in emotions. You know, I'm going to go take this foreign language class today. And if this isn't a great professor, you know, I don't believe in French. I don't believe that people can speak French. You wouldn't say that, right? So go into the medium reading with this is an experience, and take from it what you will. Don't rely on one reading, okay, to dictate if you believe or not in the afterlife, or if your loved one is really there. Every reading is going to be a little bit different. I hope you have a fabulous reading. I know myself and many of my colleagues do wonderful work. I look at every reading as it's a life-changing opportunity for the person who's sitting in front of me. So I, as a medium, feel a great deal of responsibility. I literally see it as somebody's life is in hands, and I want to take that very seriously. But again, we can't control if you believe in the afterlife after this. We can't, you know, change. So that in mind of what expectations you are putting on the medium. Don't put onto one person, this medium is going to make me believe in the afterlife or not. Let it be an experience, you know, and maybe this experience coupled with some other experiences will help you make that connection. After your reading, I always recommend you sit with it. Look and listen to the reading, and a lot of times, of course, you can record your reading and listen to it holistically, okay? One thing you might want to do before you go into the reading is list 20 or 30 things that are facts about your loved ones. And if they are to bring up these facts, this would make you know that they are connecting to this medium. So list, and don't just list 2 things. List 15, 20, 30 things and see if they come through in the reading. Also, be inspired by all the different things that the medium you didn't have on your list, because that's also interesting, right? And also remember to go through your yes column, your no column, your I don't know column. If you want to be a true skeptic, what you can do is you can write down everything that comes through in your reading and listen to your reading. And think about how many of those things are things that only you and your loved one would know. How many of those things are just so specific to your loved one? And in a good medium connection, hopefully there should be at least 3 or 4 things. Of course, a lot of times there's many more, but hopefully there's at least 3 or 4 things that are so specific that it shows you that continuity of life. And it shows you this is really your loved one coming through to this medium. Okay? So I want to thank you for listening to this video. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I hope that you have an amazing sitting the next time you have a sitting. My name is Thomas John, and you can check me out at mediumthomas.com. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.